Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to
It's
Tallahassee.
mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shelly, you, hoodie girl, dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You're out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Buckets. Clemson Postgame. Vish, tough one. How you doing tonight, though, man?
Man,
All things considered.
Well, I'm gonna cough my way through this show, and there's a decent chance I infected Melissa with COVID, so that's why she's not here. So, yeah, things are going about. That was basically the summary of the game too. So,
Yeah.
shout out to Melissa, by the way. We'll connect when she's feeling better. She'll be back on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm missing her. Man, I don't even know how to start, like how to get into this one. I mean, obviously, first half.
Well, I mean, let's be real. It was a nip and tuck game, and then the last 4.5 minutes was a complete meltdown.
Yeah.
And we were up 4 and we lost by 17 because of the last 5 minutes. I mean, that's how quickly it was. A 24-3 run, I believe, down the game.
Yeah, 24-3.
Yeah, so
That's a ball game right there.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this team is.
It was like watching the first half, like we weren't hitting shots, but I mean, me and you were both talking about it. There was flashes of the ball movement, like that one possession where Bensley got the corner three. It was some of the best ball movement we've seen all year. But man, there's just too many flashes of just so much stupid decision making and just carelessness with the ball and just on defense, just lack of engagement and losing. We lost so many shooters this game. Joe Girard had I don't even know how many open threes.
We lost
6 or 7.
We lost a bunch of shooters and then got backdoored a bunch of times.
Yeah,
some of the not all turnovers are created equal. About a handful of ours were just not paying attention. Nwoko decided he was going to one-hand flush an alley-oop instead of using 2 and missed a dunk. I mean, you leave all these points out there, and then it's a close game. Instead of being up 10 plus, at the end you're up 4, and then we collapsed. That's basically what happened. Shout out to Dan Barry. Is Packworth his NIL money? Absolutely. We went to the Final Four last year. He was most outstanding player of the regional. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about this. I definitely had some issues with Pat did not play his normal. So first, I mean, let's talk about Nigel because he went scoreless. Same thing at Virginia. He was injured.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know that he should have played. He got hurt against North Carolina, and you could see he wasn't moving well. He wasn't moving well tonight. But and we actually had this discussion in our group chat, because Bensley was playing well. So you just ride with Bensley. We kind of landed on, Pac's going to get his opportunities because if he gets going, he can win the game in 2 or 3 minutes. It just never happened. So he did get benched. Now, why Robinson? I don't even understand that. To me, that's
Keyshawn comes out. He puts in Ja'Kai.
Yeah,
I don't
he
understand what happened there.
This isn't exactly what happened because he took out Keyshawn because Pat was already on the bench at that point. He had already gotten pulled. They're like, that's enough. And so it was we always talk about we have 6 starting caliber players, so the other 5 were in there, but he took out Keyshawn and put in Ja'Kai, which to me that's overthinking it. Like, I don't know what he was expecting there, but
I mean, for Ja'Kai to not play the entire game, then let's put him in last 5 minutes or whatever.
Well, I mean, let's expand that out. Not play the entire season until the last game.
Then
5 minutes left. All of a sudden, he's like a defensive, and I get it. Like Keyshawn had a horrible defensive game off the ball, so I think I guess in his head somewhere, Coach L was thinking, I don't trust him out there right now. But I keep going back to this. You lose a guy with your boots on, and that's not Ja'Kai. So I get why Nigel wasn't in because you essentially have 6 options to choose from. Nigel was hurt, hadn't made shit all night. He's not a good defender anyway. So it's totally reasonable.
Yeah, and he was even more extremely limited with the injury.
Right. So it's totally reasonable for them to say, hey, this is he's not playing well, he's not healthy. So Bensley's playing much better. We'll go with Bensley. It is a whole other thing to say, let me put in Ja'Kai for Keyshawn. And Keyshawn was pretty poor defensively, but still. I mean, I don't understand that decision making. Ultimately, we'd already, I guess, at that point lost the game. So I don't know that necessarily did anything, but it's a curious one. I thought I was hallucinating when I saw Ja'Kai on the court.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It's the second time that's happened in a week, but I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? He actually subbed him in late against North Carolina too, and so you got to have your guys out there in a critical moment. And again, we have 6 options, and Nigel wasn't playing well, so it was obvious the other 5 need to be out there, and just wasn't. Yeah, I don't know what to. And we did a lot of good for 35 minutes that just wiped away. It's a blowout loss now.
Yeah, no, it was a blowout loss. I mean, it was. Did you see there was like 4 or 5 minutes left? No, might have been even less time. We called a timeout. You know how they bring like the benches onto the floor? Yeah. Coach L was just sitting there. The timeout's done. The players are already like walking back, and he's just sitting there like contemplating his life.
Maybe he's wondering why he put Ja'Kai in.
Maybe.
I mean, it's just
questionable decision making all around.
Yeah, and like the margin ends up being 17, but the reason, it was a big run by Clemson to close the game out, but the reason the reason we always feel stuck in the mud is it's always, even when we're playing well, it's 2 or 3 steps forward, then 1 backwards. And so we've made a little bit of progress, but not as much as we should. And then when we start playing poorly, it all gets wiped away. And that happened here.
Relatively quickly, too.
Yeah, and it happens because we make too many mistakes. So the margin's never what it should be.
Yeah.
Like, you never look at the scoreboard and say, like, we're maximizing our leads here. It's always, well, we're up 4. It feels like it should be more. And then, stuff happens and now you're down. I will say they made an adjustment, which actually spurred their run on, which is they pulled both their bigs. They put in more athletic. This is what turned the game, actually. So I think with about 6 or 7 minutes left, we had started executing well by getting into the paint. Because, I mean, one of the kind of interesting things about this small ball era of Coach L is we actually do better against bigger teams because we have a quickness advantage. It's a little counterintuitive, but if you have bigs, we're quicker than you. We'll get around you, get to the rim. And everyone obviously talking about the Connecticut game, not just like, oh, you need bigs. I was like, Houston was a huge team. They were a bunch of muscles. We just blew past them. Like, it's not, they were also a 1 seed. Like, it's not like we can't beat big teams. And the adjustment Clemson made was to play smaller, play more athletic, keep us out of the lane more. And, we turned it over twice in a row, missed some open shots, and, the game flipped. And we don't think good adjustment for them. They basically pulled out their 2 bigs because they weren't really doing much, and went smaller, and we struggled. I mean that's kind of how it was a good coaching move by them. We didn't really adjust to it, and I think all night, we had spurts where we hit threes, hit shots in a row, but we weren't consistent. And ultimately, for our team, we want those looks. And we got those looks, and we didn't make them.
Yeah,
I mean that's ultimately it. Because a lot of those threes were off of ball movement. There were looks you want to get, and we just didn't make them consistently.
Yeah, it's like we get satisfied when we go on a bit of a run and we're up by like 5. I don't remember how much we were up by. We kind of came back. I think it was like 5 or something, and then just breakdowns happen. Poor decision making. The ball movement you see is just gone. I don't know. It's frustrating to watch, and I just don't understand. We're very consistent at being inconsistent.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's so weird to me.
Well, I mean, it's bad habits, right? I mean, they put an emphasis on, and we got the press release from Megan with like, they were talking about this on the broadcast. But they sent out this long press release with all the different stats and catch and shoot versus all this stuff. There was obviously an emphasis on that, which is why I think we did see a lot better ball movement for most of the game. But when the pressure ratchets up, you fall back on your bad habits. You're not going to all of a sudden play differently, and we are a dribble and shoot team for better or worse. And again, when Clemson and Justin went smaller, they were able to keep us out of the paint, force us to try and do more, and we're a high turnover team too, and that happened. So,
yeah, I don't think there's anyone I trust on this team to attack the basket without turning it over.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But man, when they hit those 2 threes at the end, I was just like,
I mean, at that point, it was just like, whatever. It doesn't.
I know, but like, people are gonna look at this game and it's gonna be like, shit, Miami lost by 17, and I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Doesn't
we did
matter,
lose by
but
17.
I know, but like, yeah.
I mean, we had to win this game to have any chance. So,
oh yeah, no, 100%.
So it doesn't matter if it's a 1-point loss or a 30-point loss. It was done if we didn't win. So it's done.
Yeah.
Now
should have just made it an even 20. Could have had another 20-point loss.
Yeah, I mean, look, Clemson's a good team, and we made too many mistakes.
Way too many, yeah.
But that's been the story of the season. It's we don't know how to just string any kind of consistency together. And even the Pitt game, right? We played the best 30 minutes of basketball we had all season and then almost lost because we just completely imploded.
Yep.
Like we beat the same Clemson team by 13 without Wooga. And Chris Watson and AJ Casey got most of the bench minutes. That just shows you how much things have changed over the season.
Yeah. It was Nwoko, Jakai. Did anyone else play off the bench? I don't even remember.
Well, Bensley is technically off the bench. So.
Oh, yeah. Bensley, too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I already consider him like a starter. That's why.
Yeah. Nwoko got some first half minutes. I don't think he came in at all in the second half. And then, Jakai got that couple of minutes late in the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you're looking at the comments. This is so. Let's address this. Yeah, I think that's fair. Just because, I mean, we came up with expectations, and even in games like this, you can see there's a version of this season where we had a really good team. It's just not the one that played out, and I think that's more frustrating than when you're just like, this team is bad, right? I mean, when you're bad, you're bad. This team is like a tease. And it's been disappointing, right? I mean, we're going into Kentucky ranked 7th, and to get to this point, just on a game-by-game basis. I mean, North Carolina is a top 10 team. We lost to them close. I mean, this ended up being a blowout, but, Clemson's easily going to make the tournament. You're at their place. They've won 2 games in a row. They're playing really well. Most of the game, you couldn't tell who the better team was. Now, it showed in the last 5 minutes for damn sure, but so that's why it's been a frustrating year. It's just we can't get any momentum or anything going the right way, and that's why I would say, I can agree with that. It's just been a disappointing season.
Well, it'd be fun to hang out with you still in DC.
We are going to get to see the season end. Maybe on that. I think we are headed to playing on Tuesday. It looks like now. We need to string some wins together. Otherwise, we will most definitely not be in the top 9, which is what you need to get a bye. So yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much to say about this game. I mean, moving forward, 5 games left, right?
6.
Oh, 6, yeah.
I think it's BC twice.
BC twice, Duke.
FSU, Duke, Carolina, and Georgia Tech.
Oh, man, I forgot we have to play Carolina again.
We're at Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just get some wins, please.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, look, you got BC on Saturday. All you can do is win the games in front of you, right? And you can't go replay these games, I'm sure. I mean, this is kind of the concern I had coming into this game. And, the mental, where are we mentally? Because, again, we aren't we can talk about how our heads got too big. We're not the ones who picked this team to finish second in the ACC, right? That was the media predictions from the whole conference. So to be sitting here at like 10th or 11th, or where we're sitting right now, it's just, we're not the only ones disappointed in this. So, it's mentally kind of recovering and saying, look, frankly, we got to play these 6 games out, right? And play them at as high a level as we can to avoid, frankly, going like 6-14 or something. Like, you could seriously melt down from here if you don't lock in and focus. We're certainly better than Boston College and Georgia Tech at the very least, but if you don't show up and play, then we've already lost to Louisville and Florida State. So I mean, it's not. So foregone conclusion, you're going to win. And
I mean, Georgia Tech didn't they beat Duke
and Carolina?
And wow, yeah.
No, I mean, look, this is for Coach L too. The goal is you got 6 games left to play well, obviously win as many as you can, but also get some kind of health and consistency, right? Where you actually have a defined rotation, where you're not doing shit like, hey, Jakai, take off the warm-up suit. There's 2 minutes left in the game. Go out there and play. Like, what are we even doing? That type of stuff has to stop. And you got to get the rotation set, hopefully play well, win some games here, get some confidence, and then, show up to DC and try to win the damn tournament. I mean, that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that out of nowhere. You have to earn, kind of play your way into a condition to do that over the last 6 games. Like, if you're playing well, let's say you go 4-2 and you upset Duke or Carolina or something, right? Then you're carrying some momentum. Maybe you can try to go on a run there. Do I think they're going to win the ACC tournament? Absolutely not. But if you're talking about from inside the locker room, that's the goal now.
Yeah.
That large ship is sailed. That's not happening. So, you could win all 6 of these games and make the final of the ACC tournament. You're not going to get in. It's not enough wins. And again, the blowout's going to hurt the computer ratings.
Yeah.
The fact that you didn't finish this game at all, it's going to, a 1 or 2 point loss at Clemson versus a 17, or what did it end up is 16?
Yeah, 17.
17 point loss is different, right? And so next 6 games are essentially trying to get your shit in order for the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
And you're putting all your chips into that basket. Or eggs into that basket.
Eggs, yeah.
Chips into the middle of the table.
I'd rather have chips.
All right, so just addressing, all right, so I'm just going to deal with this. So I'm sorry, but this is incredibly disrespectful to some of the players that helped carry this team to the Final Four last year. Nigel Pack was the most outstanding player of the regional last year.
Absolutely.
And shot us over and into the Final Four. So on Saturday, I saw him in person fuck his knee up and gut it out anyway, and he was barely able to even put weight on it, and he still went back out on the court and tried to play. All of a sudden, we're shitting on all these same kids that were an integral part of carrying this team to the Final Four last year. And this isn't, we miss Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller, obviously, but Isaiah Wong was on 2 of the worst teams in this program's history. Okay, if they didn't do this by themselves. And so, I understand frustration, but pretending all of a sudden Wooga and Nigel and or Chad are not worthy. No, they're excellent players. This year has been a disaster for a multitude of reasons, injuries being a significant part of it. But when you start questioning their ability and their character, you're crossing the line. It's unacceptable. There's a Final Four banner hanging in the rafters because of those kids. These same ones you're calling trash and jokers and all this shit in the chat. That's just not acceptable.
Preach.
Go root for another team then. These kids gave a lot to this university. And we don't know who's going to be back and who's not. That's the nature of the sport at this point. I didn't think Harlan Beverly was going to hit the portal to go to Wichita State, but he did, right? That's the sport we're living in. But there's been a lot of lack of respect for what these kids have done for this program. And frankly, it's appalling and just not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
I was at all of those fucking games last year. I watched these kids battle. We were dead against Drake and they gutted that thing out. And it wasn't Zay and Jordan Miller playing 2-on-5 out there. So I don't know what you guys watched, or if you just watched the Final Four or something. I don't know.
Uga was a huge part of that game.
Yeah. No, if you go back and watch those,
we don't win that Uga that first game.
Well, if you don't, it comes off that way when you call them the worst P5 team in the country without Omir. No. Nigel Pack is one of the best players in the country. So is Wooga. They've been injured this entire Nigel got injured before Wooga, then Wooga got injured. Nigel I don't think he should have played today. His knee, you could tell on Saturday. I can't believe he came back into the game. He couldn't make shit after that, after he lit them up in the first half. But again, it's because these guys these guys are trying to fix something that's not fixable. The season's fucked. but they're still like trying their damnedest to fix it, and they're out there gutting it out. They're playing through injuries, and it's not working. And I get the frustration, Meyer. Like, so I know it's frustrating. We're all frustrated, but you know, if we could run the season back with the same kids healthy, it would look very different. And you know, that's not to say that there's no blame on the kids and there's no blame on the coaches, because there is. And we're going to spend the entire offseason talking about how this thing turned into a disaster. So, you know, there's 6 games left. We'll deal with that. We'll talk about the ACC tournament. Matt and I will be at the ACC tournament. And then, you know, after that, we'll have plenty of time to do a, you know, retrospective on how this went so horribly wrong. There's a lot of blame to go around, but, you know we didn't have depth. And we couldn't take injuries, and literally everyone got injured. Bensley's the only key player that has not missed significant time this year with injuries. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, in terms of coming back next year, we don't know. Most of them have eligibility. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You get. I think everyone has eligibility.
I was going to say, I think everyone does, actually.
Yeah. Now we have a top 5 recruiting class coming in as well. Like, the future is still bright for this program, but yeah, the season's been a complete disappointment. And, you know, hopefully we'll be like North Carolina is, and this is a learning experience. And, you know, they brought back a lot of guys that no one thought Baycott was coming back. But he did. They got rid of Caleb Love.
Yeah.
We're smiling because it's Matt's favorite player, but
Hey, he's doing okay where he's at, though, too, to be honest.
Could have used him. No, but I mean, look, this is I can tell you right now, if Norchad O'Meara is back, which we don't know. Again, we don't know who will be back. Then we're going to continue to play the same style of play we're playing now, because he dictates that. You don't want him at the 4 because it takes away his advantages. So if he's the 5, 2 things happen. 1, you're playing small automatically. 2, he's going to command 35 minutes a game at least, unless he gets into foul trouble. So you're not going to go get like a quality big to come and play 5 minutes a game. So that's just the reality of it. Yeah. But that is a good problem to have. Like, there's not a single player I'm looking at on this roster. I'm like, well, that guy's got to go. Like, I don't really feel that about any of these kids. In terms of, like I said, if you could run it back healthy with the same roster, I think we see a different season. But those are the breaks, right? I mean, it's sports.
Yeah.
And then once this thing
we've been incredibly blessed the past 2 seasons that we haven't dealt with injuries.
Right. It's been injuries. It's been bad luck. I mean, Wake Forest is a borderline tournament team. We played at their place without Wooga. Matthew Cleveland's shot to win the game goes halfway in and rolls out. And, you know, Syracuse, we played them without Norchad. Some dude who can't make threes hits a 3 at the buzzer to beat us. I mean, it's just one of those years. You know, sometimes it just doesn't bounce your way. So that's where we're at this point. But again, you got 6 games to kind of try and I mean, did you check out our group chat?
No, what happened?
You should watch the show. I just went off on that topic.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I think so. You're asking about the bench? No, but again, we have 3 of the best high school players in the country coming in who are going to play a lot next year. Like, Bethea's going to start. So even if we just brought him and added to this team, we have 6 starters essentially. If you added him to this team, you know, that's now 7 starters, right? I mean, so no, the current bench is ass. Let's be real. Like, none of those guys you want, other than, okay, well, Bensley's fine. He's really good actually, but so you basically have 6 starters and no backups. Everything else is just like, please don't like die on the court with these guys on there. which is why it was
Yeah.
frustrating to put Jakai in at the end of the game. But
Well, and to be honest, I think that, and I'm this isn't like making excuses. I think that the coaches expected more from guys that were coming back, right? Guys like AJ Casey, guys like Chris Watson, and haven't really gotten a lot of production.
well, it's kind of
from guys.
interesting, right? Because I call this out when we beat Clemson earlier this year at home. Those were the two back. Nwoko got 1 minute. It was all Casey and Watson both got double-digit minutes in that game. Nwoko was out injured.
Yeah.
How things have changed, and I don't there hasn't been any consistency. I mean,
There hasn't been consistency with playing time, which has resulted in no consistency from production in the bench, right?
right. Like you gotta, like, for guys that aren't elite and or starter caliber, let's just say, right? You gotta define a role, simplify for them, and say, hey, this is your job when you're in the game, go do this. We have not done that at all.
No.
And so, all of a sudden Joe Bay was in, now Joe Bay's out again. It's just I don't
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I honestly haven't kept up with really any of it. I don't know if you have.
Jovanovic started against us when
If we did lose that game, so I mean, you couldn't even tell he was on the court. He's not good, but
yeah.
no, I think some of the bench players are going to transfer, but again, we have 3 really talented freshmen coming in that are going to command playing time in some capacity. But Thea's probably starting. It's definitely starting. We're talking about probably he's gonna be a one and done and go in the lottery. So
Yeah. He's gonna be hot take. I think he's gonna be a top 3 pick.
yeah. So he's in and he's a starter. So by nature, you've already improved your bench because he's a starter. I think Schwartz may potentially start. If not, he'll get a lot of minutes.
I think he'll come off the bench.
But
I mean,
he'll
it
get a
depends
ton
who comes back, though, too.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends who comes back. But he's like his senior year, he really took a step up too, in terms of like efficiency with scoring and whatnot, because that was kind of the question mark for him.
It's not. I think the issue is you're not going to look. If Norchad leaves, I think we will get legitimate bigs. But if he stays, if he stays, you're not really going to get. Again, we talked about this a lot this year, and it's a challenging problem, right? Because there are times where you're like, man, we need more size, but then you realize, look, if Norchad's getting 35 minutes a game, who exactly are you come in and back him up?
Yeah,
and he's not nearly as effective at the 4. So you either make him a worse player, or you do what we're doing now, which is we roll with it. And I mean, hopefully, I think the answer there is Nwoko developing over the summer, so he can give you a solid 10 minutes a game.
Let's say this too, like the inconsistency and whatnot. Like you're asking Nwoko to come in and do something that he probably wasn't expected to do right away,
absolutely.
right? Like he was what, a 3-star recruit. You can tell. I mean, Coach L has even said like he's had to tell him where to be on the court and whatnot. He's not ready. You can see that
too. Like he gets lost a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's not going to develop into a nice
player.
No,
and I think that's the answer, right?
Yeah.
Now, if Norchad leaves, you can hit the portal for like a legitimate, guy who's maybe started somewhere else on a college level. But right now, that role is backup minutes behind Norchad. Now, you might play someone together with it. Like with Nwoko, you might get him to 15 minutes a game, playing sometimes next to Norchad, sometimes backing him up. And obviously, if Norchad gets a foul trouble, being the guy, if you develop him over the summer, that's probably the plan A. Now, if Norchad leaves, you've got to get a starting caliber big. And that's just a different. And I think that's when we will get someone taller, frankly. But right now, you're not getting a better player than Norchad O'Meara. He's one of the best players in the country. So I think that's probably the frustration with this team is, you're not trading Nigel Pack for maybe only a handful of players in this position. Same thing with Norchad, same thing with Wooga. So what are we talking about? Right? I mean, it just hasn't worked. It hasn't clicked. I asked this question, a few months ago, and I think it's come to fruition. Look, man, Matt didn't even bring this up, and I brought it up independently on my own. So I might have very, very possibly might have infected you. But anyway, back to the point we were making. It just hasn't clicked, and it is very much like North Carolina last year. Now, we weren't the number one team in the country coming in, but we were 7th at one point. We were picked to finish 2nd in the ACC. I know he sucks, but Lunardi's preseason bracketology, he had us up there pretty high. Like, we were supposed to be good, right? And keep in mind, last year was a 5 seed, right? I mean, it's not like this was supposed to be an equivalent-ish regular season, and it just hasn't worked. And whether or not that's, chemistry, or I think injuries played a lot because we just haven't had the court time. I think Coach Hell's, let me try this off the bench, has not helped. Because we just haven't had any consistency, and it's all just kind of spiraled out of control now to where we're at this point, which is, an average, probably above average, but, slightly above average team instead of, where we're expected to be, which is at the top of the ACC.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer this question?
Has Matthew Cleveland been a disappointment? How do I want to answer this? I guess it depends on what your expectations for him were. I will say there's an inconsistency when it comes to the offensive side of the floor. I don't know if that's like more of a mental thing, whatnot, as Melissa says, in big time games. But I mean, there were things like looking at film that we talked about, before on the show, right? Like, he's not going to be the best off-ball defender. I think he's been pretty solid on ball. But I mean, I think it's just he hasn't been consistent. And I think that's just kind of the story of this team. We've mentioned it like multiple times. But yeah.
I think one of the things I've been disappointed with him, and Melissa's absolutely right. He's a different type of player.
Yeah, that's why I say like it depends what your expectations were. Jordan Miller is a completely different player. Jordan Miller was one of the greatest in the country with court awareness, knowing where to be on the floor, and just has a complete like different game offensively as well. They're just different players. Jordan Miller did a lot of the things that people, I think they started to notice them last season, but does a lot of the little things for your team to win. This vicious dying here. And, Matthew Cleveland doesn't do those things. I mean, that's okay. He's a different player, but we're definitely missing those things. I do think that Cleveland is kind of inconsistent, especially on the offensive side of the floor.
I think he's too deferential. Like I want him. I think he's a better player than he gives himself credit for. But
it's definitely it's a mental thing.
Well, I think he showed up to a team that went to the Final Four last year from a team that was awful and was like, I got to fit in. When frankly, he could be the best player on this team. And I don't think he's he's really risen to that challenge because I don't think he's challenged himself to do that. I think he's been more differential. That's why his best games were with Wooga out. It's almost like when Wooga's not there, which again, what Melissa says is right. Like we expect him to be Jordan Miller, which is unfair. We also look, he is not a 4. He would be much better off playing the 3. And I think he's, some of the exploitation I expect. In fact, today, right, he had Scheffler on him or whatever his name is.
Yeah, didn't capitalize on it.
Try to go around him all day, but that's just not like I think he's more comfortable playing against a natural 3 in front of him and not where Jordan Miller was much better at the 4 than the 3, right? I mean, it's just again different players, but he's playing out of position, and I don't think he's been as aggressive in claiming his territory on this team, and too late for that now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing too, like kind of going back on, the whole losing Wong and Miller, I think the thing that gets overlooked is we lost the 2 best decision makers on our team. They're the best with the ball. They wouldn't try to do too much. Like Jordan Miller, he would have that mismatch, but he wouldn't force any bad shot, right? Like he would kick it out. He would make a good pass. I think that's kind of, something we've struggled with this season when you look at the turnover numbers as well. So I think that's a contributing factor of why we haven't performed. Obviously, I think that, the chemistry factor is part of the turnovers as well. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't know, man.
Like I said, there's a better team in here. We just haven't seen it other than in spurts. And, I think the confidence is gone too.
Yeah.
And it's all snowballed. Yeah, but I mean, Isaiah Wong was ACC Player of the Year. His jersey, he should be retired at some point with Rick Barry and Tim James. And you don't just plug someone in and replace that.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think we and this is where, like you said, not just the decision making, but like, what he brought was he would take really hard shots and routinely make them. So he was impossible. That's one of the reasons it was impossible to guard us.
Yeah.
Like when we needed, and again, I encourage everyone shitting on the current players to go watch the full game highlights, or you just watch the highlights, but the full games are on YouTube. Watch that tournament run last year and look at the same players and how they're playing now versus at that time. And you can see the lack of confidence now. You can see the hesitation. And, that's what comes with losing, In fact, watch games from November this year and watch now. It's just gone. But, when we were really challenged last year, it was Zay with the ball. And that's because he just calming influence. And you couldn't really do anything because he was going to take a tough shot. What the defense tries to do is get you off the 3-point line, force you to take contested mid-range. That's his shot. And so you're missing that. He's the best player in the ACC last year. He's, a top 3 player in program history here. You're going to miss that. But everyone else off of that team that came back is not playing as well for various reasons. Injuries being the main reason, but just, once the confidence goes, it's hard to just in the middle of the season when we looked at the schedule and when we looked at it at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how we got to run up the record at the beginning of the season because, all these road games at the end, you're going to Clemson, you're going to North Carolina still, all this stuff. Like, this is a tough stretch. Like, we got BC and then we got Duke. Like, this is not the stretch to try and make up ground. But, we fumbled the beginning of the season. Again, injuries played into that. And then now it's just where we're at, where so many of these players are a shell of what they were last year. And, you kind of just got to get to the offseason and rehabilitate.
Yeah.
And again, it's possible. UNC did it. Basically the exact same thing. Now we'll see who's still here next year is a whole other question. But again, we do have, there's a lot of talent coming in. And if people leave, will also hit the portal. So
we got a lot of shows to talk about, to speculate on who's gonna come back.
Yeah, so why don't we do this? Let's have you ever read Price Fix?
No.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Too much pressure.
All right, I will cough my way through it. The presenting sponsor of Buckets and 5 Reasons Sports and 5 Reasons Canes is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the daily fantasy game where you bet on the over under on individual player stats. You pick 2 to 6 players, bet the over under on them, and if you get them all right, you get paid out. And right now, if you sign up for a new account and deposit up to $100, 5 Reasons Sports and PrizePicks.com will match your deposit. As long as you use the offer code 5, that is the number 5 spelled out, FIVE. So definitely check that out, PrizePicks.com. Sign up for a new account with the offer code 5, FIVE.
Vish putting the team on his back.
I'm like Nigel. I'm fucking everything up, but I'm playing herd, and now everyone's going to blame me anyway. So let's end on this because, again, like you said, we have a whole offseason to kind of talk through how this thing went wrong and, who's coming and who's going and all that stuff. But,
yeah.
Okay, there's 6 games left. What do you think we need to do over these? Like, what would you like to see? Like, we're going to watch the games. We're going to talk about them. So we're playing BC on Saturday. What do you want to see there? Other than just saying win the game, because obviously.
I want to see the same ball movement that we saw for a majority of the game. Obviously, you can't control shots going in, right? But you can control how you get good shots. I think too, just like still, I mean, this is like always a talking point. Just not having as many defensive lapses. But so much of those are just due to like lack of engagement and just lack of focus. I don't know if we're capable of even doing that, but I mean, maybe just seeing less of those breakdowns. But yeah, and then I mean, hopefully Nigel healthier by then.
I mean,
unfortunately, I think this is going to be something that lingers.
I almost felt like we should. I definitely don't think he should have played tonight. He clearly wasn't out there. I mean, you could tell he fucked it up bad against North Carolina. I was surprised he came back into the game.
If he's he needs to sit. Like, I mean, you want to win these games, but it's like, with how the season has gone and whatnot.
Yeah,
like,
honestly, if you sit him for a couple
healthy.
of games to get him back to health, that's in the best interest of him and the program right now. These games, I mean, on an individual basis, don't matter.
Your only shot is the ACC tournament, and I mean,
look, man, they're coming to my home. They're gonna do it. They're not gonna do it, but
they're gonna do it. No,
I mean, let's be real. But yeah, I mean, look, it like you said that. When you get into their 6 games left in the regular season, it'd be nice to see some consistency. I think you kind of have your answer there. But I would say I would like some consistency out of the coaching position.
Yeah, established rotation.
Well, I was okay. Look, like we talked about this. If you suited Nigel up, you got to give him the opportunities on the court, see if he gets it going, because there's no one really in the country that can do what he does. And we saw that against North Carolina. We were getting killed. He shot us right into the game. We were up at the half because of him. Then he got injured. Like, that's the type of explosiveness he has. So I get, riding with him. I need to limit all of the minutes that aren't from the 6, though. So if he's there, great. I don't care. Frankly, I don't care which of the 6 are on the court. They just need to be on the court. 5 of them need to be on the court at almost all times. Look, you're going to have to get some minutes from Nwoko because Norchad's not going to play 40. I can't have Jakai coming in with 5 minutes left in the game. And just be like, hey. He's not. I mean, it's bizarre because Chris Watson's a better defender. I know he hasn't played well offensively, but if you're trying to do a defensive substitution, put in the better defender. Like, I don't even understand. Like, that type of stuff is just. I mean, I get, like, Keyshawn got lost, and we were talking about this in our chat, right? He's really good one-on-one on the ball defending. He is completely lost off the ball, so I think that's why he was like, oh, I can't have him on the court, which I think you kind of had to.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, if he got switched on, like he had a couple, I don't know how many he had, but he had like a couple steals or like deflections. You know what I mean? Because he knows how to use his length, at least defensively.
No, he's very good on the ball. He just
Yeah.
doesn't like he gets lost off the ball, which is ironic because we rotated and Jakai didn't rotate onto PJ Hall who dunked it on one of those possessions. So
was that when Norchad left to double though?
yeah, but you got to rotate behind it. He's just
Yeah.
standing there. He watched him. He got there eventually. He's got a good view of his ass as he was dunking the ball. It's almost like, putting someone in that never plays is not a good idea with like a few minutes left of the game. But so that's what I would like to see, some attempt to establish a rotation, like an actual rotation. Say, okay, these are your roles. Because like, and I talked about this on Saturday, and I talked about on this show, like the fact that we beat the same Clemson team without Wooga, but using completely different backup players is insane. Like just completely different rotation. Wasn't that long ago. How did so much change?
Yeah.
It's been that season. We also scored 95 points in that game. We scored 60 tonight.
Oh my god. Ugh.
Yeah, that type of season. Yeah, but I'd just like to see some. I'd like them to use definitely Boston College, but the rest of the season to prepare to try to make a run in the ACC tournament. And that's where you define consistency in rotations, you define roles. Guys kind of know when they're going to play and what their job is. And I don't think we've done that this year. And injuries have certainly been a cause of some of that. But all right, you got 6 games left. Just like, figure out your rotations, just roll them out there. And you know what? Let them play through it. If it's Jakai or whoever it is, if your role is to give me 3 minutes in each half, get the 3 minutes. If he's playing like shit, let him play the 3 minutes in the second half anyway. Because you're trying to establish that rhythm where he does. I think he has been doing a lot of. If you get out there off the bench and you have a good couple of minutes, you're playing, more. If not, then you're not.
Yeah.
That's not how you define roles. So again, figure out whatever he look. There's not an answer on the bench. Let's just be real. Like it's not like there's someone sitting over there. I can't believe that guy hasn't been playing. Because come on, but. Defining roles and saying, okay, this is your role. These are the minutes we expect you to get. And just giving them that consistency for 6 games and not like overreacting to one good play or one bad play will allow us to at least, hopefully have a rotation by the tournament. I think that's the best we can hope for.
Yeah.
Can we get the last 5 minutes of that game book? That's what I'd really like to have.
So bad, man.
Well, we got
This isn't how I expected the first season of Buckets to go.
Well, you know what? It's not all bad because the women are coming together. They're hosting Syracuse tomorrow at the Watt, 6 p.m. Syracuse is ranked. And they got FSU on Sunday, who is getting votes, just fell out of the top 25 a week ago. So big week for the women, who are most definitely tournament bound. Worried about seeding, so a couple of big games didn't prove that.
Be nice. At least someone's going to the tournament.
Nyquil. I am as good as I've been. I feel like this cough is permanent now. Like I feel normal, but I just can't. One of the problems I have is I am incapable of not talking, and so if I could go like a day, I think everything would heal up. But instead, I'm like on meetings all day talking. Oh, I did a presentation for like 100 people at work and just coughed right through it yesterday. That was fun.
Oh my god.
So I need one of the radio old school cough buttons, but so I can go get some like time without talking all the time. That'd be good, but we'll persevere. Eventually, one day I won't be coughing anymore. I don't know when that'll be, but one day. Half marathon in 2.5 weeks. We'll see how that goes.
God.
I don't honestly. I have no stamina. So like if I don't get it back, I'm not gonna.
Have you tried running recently? Like
I cannot even. There's no way I can even walk half marathon right now. I went up the stairs at the Watt and I was like panting.
Yeah, that's
But I'm assuming when this like cough goes and I heal, like I'll get my lung capacity back. If I don't, then there's no way I can run anything.
yeah.
Then I'll figure out how to manage the 13.1 miles.
Well, couldn't think of a better way to spend Valentine's Day.
Yeah, well, you know,
You
I mean,
post game against Clemson.
you know, shout out to Monica though.
Shout out Monica, working
Yes.
hard right now.
Yes, she is. Shout out to Melissa, who I infected with COVID, allegedly.
Monica's my wife, by the way. I don't even think we've said that like on.
Oh,
on
my
air.
bad. Did I break news? She's been on. Wait, oh no, that was backstage after the show.
That was backstage. That wasn't on the show.
Did I break news? Is that a problem?
No, I think
Okay.
have I said her name on here? I don't know if I have.
You might have. You might have.
Yeah, but just it was more so like people know if they're watching this.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell's Monica? So,
Shout out to Melissa too, who is yeah.
I am not getting Chipotle today.
Ha! You thought you knew Melissa. Look at her coming in here and
She started strong. It was like she started strong, man. She was like 2 for 2 right out the gate. Now she's been on a drought. I think she's forcing it a little bit too much. You know what I mean? She's got to wait. Okay, today feels like a Chipotle type day. So
you're lacking.
Nope.
You're lacking good. You're lacking consistency, Matt. Though that's what she's struggling with. Like you're not
a Whopper.
Don't do it, man. Oh my god.
No, I already ate.
You already ate.
Yeah, some what do you call it? Some stew.
Stew.
Yeah.
Is
Just
this like a
some meat.
northern cold weather thing?
Meat, potatoes, and carrot. So we can't eat stew in California? What the hell, man?
I thought it was more targeted at like colder climates. Like you eat it in winter to stay warm or whatever.
It is chilly. There you go, Melissa. Break out the Ben & Jerry's.
Listen, I'm going to a chicken place tomorrow that is apparently better than Hangry Joe's, so I will report back.
Oh, wow. What's it called?
Woo Boy.
What?
Boy? One word, WOOBOI. I did not take, so when Melissa was here, I got a recommendation for a chicken spot, which was Hangry Joe's. Hangry Joe's keeps getting strays. We won a basketball game that we were watching on my phone while we were in there. There's positive vibes. But I took her to Hangry Joe's because that one is apparently less spicy. And Melissa's need spicy. So we're gonna try out Woo Boy tomorrow.
Because she doesn't like the hot chicken where they put all the seasoning on it, right? She just wants it.
You're saying that, not me.
Well, no, right? I mean, I would guess she's not.
No, I think it's more.
Spice, right?
No, I think it has more to do with indigestion, and you'll see in a few years. It happens to me too. I unconsciously make decisions. I'm like, this is gonna hurt in like an hour. Yeah, exactly. Reflux.
The reflux is real.
No, I know what like I'm gonna be feeling it in the afternoon. Going at lunch, I'm gonna be feeling it in the afternoon.
Dang, I eat a lot of spicy food right now.
Oh, I did too when I was your age.
Your boy's turning 30 though.
I know. Here too, right? Or right before you get here?
No, it'll be a day or two after, I think. Let me look at the calendar.
Well, you know what? Since you'll be here long after the Canes are eliminated, we'll
because it's the 11th, so we leave. It's like 3 days after my birthday.
Okay, you're coming here 3 days after your birthday, or 3 days.
Yeah, because I get there the 11th, right? Yeah,
the Monday, right?
Yeah, the Monday morning, and it's on the 8th, which is the Friday before. God, it's in my calendar. Matt Bridges' 30th birthday.
So we're gonna have to do a celebration here, since the Canes will be out by Tuesday, and then you're here till Thursday.
Whoppers for the birthday.
Oh my god! that Whopper. I didn't think it was gonna beat me up the way it did. Man, I was dying.
We should do a pod while I'm in DC. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to the ACC tournament. Like, this is it, man. This is the end of it. It's the end of the line. So yeah, we'll be doing. I'm assuming Matt and I we'll be doing. I know Melissa's working through part of it, but we'll be doing nightly recaps for at least Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Melissa, you and I can do a show on Selection Sunday for the women.
There you go.
Yeah, but the women's tournament's the week before. So we'll figure out how we're gonna cover the ACC tournament. We're on site, so we'll figure that out. But you know, and I know Melissa's working. I don't know if we're working yet. I don't think she's working every day, but she's working part of it. So when she can join too, that'll be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta figure out what time our games are.
I know. Hopefully it's not like right in the middle of the day. It's either like at night or early.
I'm literally like on day 15 now. I don't even. I think my friend was like, how's long COVID defined? I'm like, don't even fucking dare. I'm like coughing for like 6 months or something.
Oh God, that'd be awful.
No, I feel normal, and then I just can't. Again, I think if I just shut the fuck up for like a day or two, it'd probably go away. But I can't not talk at work or on here. So this is it's the Godfather 2 thing. This is the business I've chosen for myself.
Oh my God.
It's not good on the lungs.
So what are we doing a show after the next game or what? After BC or what are we thinking here?
That's a good topic.
Oh God, it's too good.
I mean, there's some. This one might make the list just the way we melted down. Yeah, Saturday, right? BC, late night buckets.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I might or might not go to the baseball game on Saturday night, but
is that the opener or is it?
Friday's the opener. It's a doubleheader. I'm flying back to Miami in the middle of the day on Saturday, so I'll obviously watch the BC game when I get there. At 4, and then the baseball game's at 7, but I don't know if I'm gonna go or not.
Yeah,
it appears we'll have a full crew.
Look at that.
But if you guys wanted to do it earlier, I just want to go to the baseball game. But we'll figure it out. And then
doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with late.
All right, maybe we'll do some late buckets regardless, because we tend to have better shows late anyway. And then Sunday I'll be at the lot for the FSU game for the women.
Ooh. Oh, man.
Kind of annoyed I'm missing the Syracuse game tomorrow, but I will. Actually, if I'd seriously do that, I'll get you a milkshake. I'll just go through and I'll get credentialed just to go to the milkshake one. That's not true. If I'm gonna do that, I'll actually go to the game and then grab you a milkshake on the way up. Yeah, no. We'll get it done.
This has basically become the chat. I forgot we were live. I almost said something and
I will say
because I only saw Melissa's comments and then I was like, oh yeah, we're just backstage, and I was like, wait, why does it say live?
Well, I mean, backstage is where Monica rinsed me for the Whopper, and then the Whopper, repaid my loyalty by ripping up my insides. So, no loyalty in these streets. I mean, she's the only one I've seen do 2.
Dude, oh my God. I could barely do 1.
Harry, we had him, the Canes team store manager. He came on for part of our show on Saturday, and he's like, I do 1 a year.
I think if I even drank like more than half of one, like I'd have to be in a different car than you guys.
I mean, you haven't spent as much time as Melissa and I have together. We are very open about that type of stuff, so you'd be fine.
No,
As long as
like,
you don't.
No, you don't understand, dude. It's bad.
Windows go down. We're good.
Okay. I don't know, man. I can handle spice, but dairy is dangerous, man.
Well, yeah. Anyway, all right. So we'll be back on Saturday. Hopefully, we win a game here. It's 3 losses in a row. We said we're going to debate.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's 3 losses to 3 tournament teams in a row. This is what we were, talking about in the preseason. Like, you got to rack those wins up because the back half of the schedule is rough. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not poor me. I got Melissa sick. Is what it all indications are that Melissa's sick because she hung out with me on Saturday. So I've got to take the L on that one. Yeah, Melissa definitely feel better. But yeah, we'll be back on Saturday night at some point. Get you some late night buckets. I might not run a milkshake past Melissa's place. So.
Oh man. Well, we wrapping this one up or what?
I mean, unfortunately, unless she wants to put it in the chat, someone's gonna have to do it.
Yeah, too. She can do it. Come on, Melissa. I know there's a delay.
Thing is, I have to go to another screen. I can't see the chat and actually.
I'll tell you. And there we go.
All right. Well, we'll put this on the screen and then do it.
Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.